Welcome to Spirits and Screams.
Welcome to the Spirits and Screams Horror Podcast. I'm your host, Karen, and tonight on the show, I'm thrilled to have indie horror filmmaker Matthew Schmidt, and he's going to be talking to us about his recent film, Mr. Sandman. This is a short horror film coming in at around 48 minutes, and it's based on the folklore story about the Sandman. Now, before we get started, let's have a little look at what it's all about. Mr. Sandman from 2024 is a short horror film about Zoe, a young girl who falls asleep on the couch and must survive nightmarish, supernatural, and imagined horrors while navigating her dark home. Directed by Matthew Schmidt, starring Haley Schmidt, Sherry Hoffman, and Mackenzie Newbury. I watched this one late the other night by myself in the dark. And it blew my socks off. It's such a good film. There are elements of night terrors, fear of the dark, and folklore monsters. My kind of movie. So sit back and enjoy the show, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Welcome to the Spirits and Screams Horror Podcast. I'm your host, Karen, and tonight on the show, I'm super excited to have indie filmmaker Matthew Schmidt. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Good, yeah. Well, thank you for sending me your movie to watch because it was pretty cool. So today we're going to be talking about Mr. Sandman, the film that you made, horror short film that you made, which has so much packed into 1 hour. It's insane. I really loved it. Tell us a little bit about what it's about first, so people know what it's about.
Mr. Sandman is basically based on the general idea that, like, I'd say all kids share, no matter what culture, gender, race you come from, and it's that just a general fear of the dark.
Yeah.
The whole premise is, I think almost every kid's experienced this. You fall asleep watching TV in the living room. It's late. You wake up. You're alone, and you have that long, terrifying journey back to your bedroom. And of course, you hear things, you see things, you are running from room to room, switching on lights, just to make it there safely, because for some reason you think the light is your protector, savior.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the basic premise was to, play on that childhood imagination, because I knew, at least if nothing else, most people would be able to relate to it, because either you're watching it and you are presently a child, or we all were children once.
Right. Oh, it resonated with me so much. I grew up in the 70s and I had a sister and a mom that would read the scary books and then they would describe them. I was little. And my dad, Kate, grandma in your film, my dad would have done that to me. And I think my whole entire childhood slept like this with the blankets up over my face, where I was sweating and I just couldn't breathe. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I get it.
I could relate. I was terrified to go to the bathroom as a kid, to have to leave the safety of my bedroom in the middle of the night and
Yeah.
run to the bathroom and get back. It was terrifying.
Yeah, or flipping the light and running as fast as you can up the stairs to
Yep.
get it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so the main character of this movie is your daughter.
Yes.
That's amazing. And her name was Zoe in the film, or is it Zoe?
Zoe in the film, and her
Zoe in the film.
real name is Haley.
Haley, yeah. Well, tell her she's an absolute gem.
As soon as I pick her up from swim practice tonight, I absolutely will.
Amazing. Because usually, not all the time, but usually in films, when kids especially have a lead role, it can kind of be a little cringy and hokey, like it doesn't quite work. But she nailed it. Like, she was so good. Like, some of those close-up shots with her eyes showing that fear, very grown up. Like, I just couldn't get over it. She's definitely like an old soul. She kind of gets it, you know?
Yeah, she's, I'm really proud of her, and she's gotten a lot of compliments on this performance, and even an award. So I'm really proud of her for that.
Yeah.
So she's always been interested in acting. She
Okay.
loves being, expressionist and stuff like that. So I knew that I could get what I needed out of her
Right.
when the time came. Now, there wasn't without its challenges because you're still dealing with a little girl and she gets
Right.
tired. Obviously, a full time student,
Yeah.
also competitive swimmer. So it's like she's exhausted at the end of the night, and I'm trying to squeeze a couple hours in at the end of each night after she's had a long day. And let me,
Yeah.
I'll just say it took a lot of McFlurries to make her happy
Oh.
throughout the filming.
Oh, that's so cute. So the scary story concept, did that scare her, or is she just like a lot of kids now, doesn't really?
No, I mean, she, me being not just a horror buff, but a general movie buff,
Yeah.
I kind of broke her and her sister in early as far
Okay.
as like movies are concerned and stuff like that. So she kind of grew up very much loving horror, but
Mm,
also when you're on set, it's actually like the least scariest thing in the world because
right.
you're constantly cutting, you're doing the same thing 5 times over in a row, getting multiple takes and stuff like
Right.
that. So it's, and plus I'm right there. My
Yeah.
producing partner's right behind me. He's helping. So it's like, and it's in her own home, so there's
Yeah.
nothing scary for her.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like Linda Blair with The Exorcist, right? She just didn't see it that way. It wasn't scary to her. She just did all the things and it was like, fine, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
for
doing it.
her it was actually just more painful because I know she broke her back during filming. So
Yeah, exactly. Very grueling. But
yeah.
he was a little, hopefully you're not that kind of director.
No, 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 no physical mishaps, thankfully.
Yeah. I know it's kind of a, it's a typical kind of folklore thing, right? Everybody knows about the Sandman. How did you come up with the story? Because I know you wrote this as well.
Yeah, it's one of the first lessons I learned in writing was to make something. If you want to make something that has a broad appeal, you want to make it primal. So
Right.
you want to hit those chords like the ones I touched on, the general fear of the dark. I mean, to this day, I can't sleep in a room with the door open. Like whatever room I'm in, the door has to be shut
Yeah.
because I will look out into that hallway and my mind will start playing tricks on me. And I'm,
Yeah,
you
I
said
get
you
that.
grew up in the 70s. I'm going to assume we're right around the same age. So
Okay.
like I grew up like that too with those
Everything was about
fears.
demons and ghosts and horror
Exactly.
movies.
So I grew up on that fear of the dark. And, you know, I knew instantly it would be relatable, but also I was like, okay, but instead of just having a situation where it's just her imagination, I'm like, I want to put an actual threat in the dark, because theater of the mind is a great, powerful tool,
Hmm.
but there also has to be a payoff. And
Right.
like Alfred Hitchcock famously said, he said the payoff, the jump scare, is just to show that the threat's real. The real
Right.
fear is in the anticipation, the build up. So
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we concentrated on that. But it was like, I was like, okay, what threat can I put in? And I started thinking, I'm like, okay, I could just put a monster or some type of, creepy thing. But I'm like, well, why don't I just use Mr. Sandman since it's, like you said, a popular folklore, well known across the globe, different
Right.
versions of it.
Yeah.
So it was like right there. I'm like, well, this is a no brainer. And
Yeah.
all the Mr. Sandmans that I looked up on IMDb before I started doing this were not really related to those childhood fears. It was more just a creature feature, and I'm like, well, I want to make sure I go this direction with it. So that's really where it spawned out of.
I love the layers of this because you could look at it as there were night terrors, there was that anxiety and fear that you build in your head. I loved how, Haley's character, would be like in sort of really in terror about something coming, but then relaxed when her mom was there, but then back into it again. And then so that psychological thing, it really reminded me of being a kid and being under the covers and being scared of nothing, that was there, just stuff that you'd heard about. But then like having a night terror, or what if it is real and there's something out there? I loved that you combined all of that because I think that's what made it for me like multi-dimensional. Like there was so much going on that it was a lot to keep my interest, even though it's only like under an hour long, the film. So yeah, that did you go to school for this? Is it just something you've always been good at? Because that's a
Uh,
lot to juggle,
yeah, I mean,
you know?
I basically, I'm gonna paraphrase Tarantino here. I didn't go to film school. I went to films. I learned from the best teachers in the world. I learned from Spielberg. I
Right.
learned from Lucas. I learned from Dick Donner. Like I learned from the greats. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I like this film was heavily inspired by a lot of different things.
Right.
I'm sure as a film buff, you probably picked up on the Poltergeist inspirations. You probably picked up on the Evil Dead inspirations. You probably picked up on, some of the Exorcist inspirations.
Mhm.
It all comes from. But as George Lucas said, and it's one of my favorite quotes, is like, don't worry about what's been done, everything. The key is it hasn't been done by you.
Right. Yeah.
So really what I did was just tap into my inner film buff and
Hmm.
say, okay, what shot would work here? Where have I seen this shot before? Where have I seen that shot before? I want to place it here, there.
Yeah.
And I really crafted it in that way, as like from my love of film.
Right.
So that's how this came to be, because I did make a couple of films before, but they were found footage style.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't
And
watched those yet. I will though.
um you know like I made a lot of amateur mistakes with those, but
Okay.
with this I'm like, okay, this is my first cinematic style film, and
Hmm.
I really want to nail it. I really want to get the formula right, so who better to look to than the masters? So
Right.
that's what I did.
That's amazing that you're saying that because that's the advice I've been giving to my daughter right now. She's doing film and writing and acting, and she's in high school and she's lucky to have some really amazing classes that she's able to take that kind of stuff. And now she's done her headshots and she's looking into doing her reel and all that kind of stuff. And I'm saying to her, we're just going to get you doing this. Like back in the day, I got a degree in art, which is great. I did go to school for that, but I found my most experience that came out was when I lived it and I did it and researched it myself and did it. So I really appreciate that kind of advice. I also love indie filmmakers because everybody's so creative and because they're not so obsessed with the studios and the money and all that kind of stuff, so many great films come out of that. I tend to shy away a little bit nowadays from all the new stuff. I'll watch it 6 months later or a year later and then maybe review it then because I don't like getting caught up in all that stuff. I have a lot of indie filmmaker friends now that do stuff, and I love seeing stuff that's coming out from them. I love that creativity. That's kind of what I think you're describing is just digging into your creativity and putting it out there.
Yeah, I just
I love that.
I have such a love for good storytellers, and I think the directors I mentioned, had that, especially in the era I grew up in, which
Yeah.
is mostly the 80s, and they knew how to tell a story. You look at someone like Dick Donner, I mean, talk
Hmm.
about an underrated storyteller. I mean, you have him start in The Omen, which
Hmm.
is one of the best horror films ever made. Then
Yeah.
he makes Superman, which is the still to this day the shining example of what a superhero movie is supposed to be. And then he goes on to do Goonies, which is one of the which I mean, obviously there would be no Stranger Things if there wasn't the Goonies,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know,
Totally.
and
Yeah.
then Lethal Weapons, and just a slew of other films, and it's just
Hmm.
like, wow, I love those type of storytellers that can just like make you embrace whatever you're watching.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We did grow up in the same era, I can tell the way you're talking. I don't have convos like this all the time anymore because it's people are rewatching stuff from back then and how they relate to it now. It's much different, but amazing. Okay, to get back to your film, the grandma character, she
Yeah.
was so creepy, but funny at the same time. I loved her. She's not related to you. She's
No,
an
she's not.
actor. Okay.
She's actually, her monologue is actually my favorite scene of the whole film.
I
Um,
think, yeah.
and no, I went through a casting agency to find her, a local
Okay.
casting agency, and it's funny because while we were filming, because this film actually took a few years to put
Oh,
together,
yeah.
and while we were filming, as luck would have it, she started getting national commercials for Medicare Martha if you YouTube her.
Oh, okay.
So it was pretty funny. My producer called me one day and he's like, "Hey, dude," he's like, "Turn on the news quick." He's like, "You're not gonna believe this." So I turn it on and sure enough, there's Sherry doing a Medicare Martha commercial, and I'm like, "This is national." He's like, "Yeah, I know." I'm like, "That's
That's
pretty funny."
big.
So she became somewhat of a commercial celebrity while we were filming this.
Yeah,
So
oh, that's awesome. I love her. I think she's awesome. She kind of has a look to her too that's familiar. Like, I don't know why. I was like, where do I know her from? She seems really
it
familiar.
might be that. It might be the
Maybe.
Medicare commercials.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to
she
look
was
that up.
awesome. She's such a sweetheart. Shortly after we really only had her for one night. But shortly after that, a package arrived at my door, and it was a set of Tom and Jerry pajamas for Haley. So I thought that was really sweet,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she was just awesome. So
Yeah.
and she, when she gave her reading, because we actually did read
Yep.
quite a few people for grandma. When she gave her reading, we're just like, that's it,
She's
that's
it.
grandma, that's
Yeah.
that's her.
Yeah,
So
she was awesome. I loved it. It was really short, but I love that part. And Mom too, the character that played Mom, the actress that played Mom, she was really good too. The eye thing, the eye
yes.
thing was her, right? Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched the post credits interviews
No.
after the movie, but the eye thing became quite a problem. The
Really?
contacts, yeah. One of them
Why?
actually like slipped up on top of her eyeball for a minute, and we were in full blown panic mode for like 30 seconds, and then she blinked and it magically fell into place. And I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
so I went from panic to don't move. I'm like, quick, let's get the shot and get those things out of your
Yeah.
eyes.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
so
There,
it was a
sorry, go
scary
ahead.
moment. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a scary
there,
moment.
contact, I did the thing with the photo shoot with the contact things. I'll never do it again. Took forever and they felt almost sticky, like they fused to your eyes too. Like you're never gonna get them out. Oh, it's so uncomfortable. I can't imagine it flipping back. It's so scary.
She was so relieved to get them out, but she was a
Yeah,
trooper about it. And we both look back on the story now and laugh. And she's another one I
yeah.
found through the same casting agency. And
Okay.
that's the second time I've worked with Mackenzie. She did do one of my found footage films too, and
Okay.
she's just, I mean, she's very much a theater trained actress. She does a
Mhm.
lot of plays and a lot of dancing and singing. She's just so talented that I'm like, you're just, I could basically put you anywhere. So I had no question that, like, she would work as Mom.
Yeah, oh, and that scene was so scary. Like it's kind of like I'm used to horror stuff, so I can take a lot of things now. I've seen all the Terrifier movies and all that. But it was kind of like you almost kind of want to look away because it's like so creepy and it's like do I want to see that? It reminded me a lot actually of, I don't know if you watched the film Beyond the Door, the original one.
Mm-mm.
It's a possession film. You should check it out. It's really creepy, like super
Okay.
creepy. And it gave me that kind of "Ah!" I don't know if I want to watch it again kind of vibe. So that was cool. As well as your editing and stuff that you put into it too. The effects and stuff with her doing that, it was so good. So scary.
Yeah, that's actually, and that is her actual laugh. that we use there. And
Is it?
we all we did was enhance it and echo it a little bit, but that's her high pitch the cackle
Ooh,
that we use there. So
that's scary. Oh, that's a nightmare for sure. Oh my goodness. Okay, so production, you're saying it took 2 years to do it? What was all that like?
yeah, it took like like 2.5 to 3, actually, to be honest.
Wow.
Well, when you're doing found footage, you can basically point the camera in a direction and let it run, and you
Hmm.
can get 5 minutes of usable film. Like
Right.
with cinematic, if you watch any movie, in a span of 60 seconds, there's roughly a dozen cuts.
Okay.
So with those cuts, that means there's a dozen shots where they had to set up each shot, set up the lighting, get everything right, get the right take, multiple takes for that shot. So this film, although it was I think 37 minutes is what it clocked in at,
Okay.
it over 250 shots.
Oh,
So
wow.
now imagine doing that in your own house when you only have a few hours each night to do it, and hopefully on a night where everybody's okay with you filming because they have to be quiet. You
Right.
have I've got a wife, two girls, two very active girls, sports, school, work
Yeah.
myself, like
Yep.
it. So fitting all this in did take a lot of time, and plus we did have an unrelated mishap where Haley broke her arm on a
Oh.
trampoline, so that set us back 6 months as well. So
Oh.
um things happen in life, and
Yeah.
when you're filming in your own house with your own kids and working around full-time schedules, it's tough.
Yeah.
So that was the main culprit of taking so long, was the scheduling.
Yeah, but it ended up turning out so well, so it was worth it, I'm sure. Will you ever do a feature film horror?
Definitely not in my house again.
No. On
Definitely
set
not my house.
with a bigger
Um,
budget.
yeah, as far as any future projects are concerned, there's a lot that's been discussed. At the moment, all my ideas exceed my resources.
Right.
So I'm trying to find an idea, because you don't want to make something you're not passionate about. You don't want to
Right.
just make something to, hey, I put out another film. Great. Is it any good? No? Okay.
Yeah.
I already went through making, films that disappointed me. I don't ever want to go backwards now.
Yeah.
So I want to make something I'm passionate about, but something that's within my means, and something I can accomplish. So finding finding something that reins in my imagination, but yet I'm still passionate about,
Yeah.
is a bit of a challenge. So I'm at the moment, nothing's on the table, but there's a lot up here.
Yeah. I am looking forward to seeing the films because I'm sure you're going to do down the road at some point, and I think they will be hugely successful because this was really good. Like
Oh, thank you.
I've watched a lot of junk. That's not maybe so good. And this was good. I really could see you doing bigger films like with a bigger budget, and it would be really fun. I want you to do a possession film too, by the way.
A possession.
Something with possession with a demon. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there is. I am very much in love with those 70s satanic style films.
Okay.
There's something
Awesome.
very creepy about them. There's something, and maybe it's my Catholic upbringing or whatever, that hits me a little harder than most, like The Exorcist, like The Omen, like Amityville. So that very much is in my brain. It's just a matter of being able to make it happen.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, YouTuber Chris Stuckman just did it. He did all the fundraising and whatnot, and then he got picked up and he did it. So Shelby Oaks, I don't know if you've seen that one.
I
The movie.
haven't. I have not.
It's new. It's a newer film that's come out, and he did that. He's a very probably at the top of the horror community for movie reviewer, and
Okay.
he took a lot of time and he did crowdfunding and that kind of thing to get to a spot, and then I believe Mike Flanagan I think ended up picking him up and
Oh
they put
wow.
it out.
Okay.
So it was kind of like a different way to do things, bit of a different way to do things, but he made it happen, so it could
I
it could
think
work, could do it.
Flanagan's doing the new Exorcist, isn't he? All
I
right.
think so, but I keep
Fun.
hearing it on and off and on and off. But yeah, I think they're kind of getting closer to something, so be interesting to see. Are you excited to see that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I am such a big fan of The Shining, and I was so wary and protective going into Doctor Sleep and thinking like, oh, there's no way it's going to be, it's going to let me down, and it really
Hmm.
didn't. Like it, I actually was very pleasantly surprised. So,
Yeah.
um, I am curious to see which direction he goes with The Exorcist. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough franchise to dabble in, I think too, but hopefully he comes up with something that's unique and different and it could happen.
Yeah,
I'm going to
I
see it.
listen. I Exorcist 3 is one of the most scary films I've ever seen. So it can be done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love those films. So those are your favorites? Exorcist?
Yep. Exorcist, Shining, Jaws is probably my all-time
Oh,
favorite film,
me too.
all around.
Yeah.
And as far as if I'm just sticking with horror, the other two tops would be Halloween and Fright Night.
Oh yeah, Fright Night's a good one too. Yeah, I love those films. Yeah, great, great, great films. It's so sad to have grown up in that time period and we fell in love with like 80s films and that kind of thing. It's really hard to like films now because they're just not the same as they were back then, but I keep hoping, things will
Yeah,
come out.
again, I think, and I don't want to knock anyone because now that I've done a few films, I know how hard it is to put a good
Oh,
film together.
yeah.
But at the same time, I do think there's a bit of a storyteller drought in Hollywood these days. And I really would like to see more people come in with more story driven ideas and realize that that's your foundation and that's where it starts,
Right.
and build off of that, not hey, let's make a movie and then we'll worry about story later. So.
Right. Would you write for other directors? Would that be something that you would do or no?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, that's the whole reason I kind of got into indie filmmaking is because I was writing screenplays
Okay.
for to hopefully be produced into films, but not by me because they were too big for an indie filmmaker.
Right.
But as anybody on this, anybody who's listening that's a aspiring screenwriter or like you said, an actress like your daughter, that the hardest thing to do is to get even people to look your way. So
Right.
it's not that I was getting read and rejected. I'm just
Mhm.
not getting read. So I'm like, well, the only way to do this is to kind of build a name for myself by doing my own stuff first. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much the goal.
Right. And you also want to bring up Acres Films, is that what it's
Yep.
called?
Yep.
Wrote down. Your indie film production company that you started. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to. It's actually named after my apartment complex where I grew up.
Oh, that's
So
cool. I love that.
I was like, okay. I'm like, well, and me and my friends when we were like teenagers, we would run around making like uh crappy like just fun movies for ourselves on VHS recorders for
Yep.
fun. Like so I was like, you know what? I'm like if I'm going to name anything it, I want it to be inspired by my childhood and the great times that I had. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I came up with the name Acres
Oh,
Film.
that's very cool. I love hearing stuff like that. That's amazing. Well, I'm running over time as I thought I would because there's so much to talk about with this film. But I just want to say I'm really grateful that you pitched this to me and I got the chance to see it because I really love it. I know a lot of my friends. I'm going to get them to watch it too, and I think they're going to love it too. And I'm looking forward to all the stuff that you're going to do in the future because I know somehow it'll come together. You manifest it, you put it out there, it'll happen. And things happen in the right time too. And anything else you want to talk about or promote that you're working on or that's coming up or
Well, actually, I have a question I like to ask people.
okay.
What was your favorite scene and why?
Oh, um, hmm. I liked a bunch actually. Oh, what would I pick as my favorite? You know what? I'm gonna say the very beginning opening scene just before the credits. the way your daughter, just her face in that, it hooked me right in. And I love the credits, the opening title, sorry. The animated way you did the sand is so cool. And honestly, a lot of times, and I've said this before, the 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 title credit or the end credit, that kind of thing, how that's done makes or breaks the film for me often at the very beginning. And I
Okay.
thought that was really cool. That's what led me in. Of course, I loved grandma scene. I love the eyes scene too. That was really cool. The levitation stuff, all of that. So it's hard to pick the stairs,
Okay.
yeah, all of that was really cool too. But I think that beginning one was actually my favorite.
Okay. See, yeah, I mean, I like asking this because I like getting people's different perspectives about what really, what hooked them. So,
Yeah,
okay.
no, it did. 100% it did. I was like, "Wait, what? This looks good." And then I was excited to watch the rest of the film, so.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess the only other thing is, yeah, Acres Films is on all social media platforms from TikTok, Facebook, X, Instagram, and the
You're on Tubi
horror.
as well.
Yes, Tubi. Well, the movie's on Tubi. Yep. And yeah, the movie's on Tubi, Amazon Prime. Now it's for free on Amazon Prime, and it's on YouTube also.
Okay.
So you can find it all three platforms for free. And the only other film is that I'm somewhat proud of is The Challenge, which was a found footage short, and that's
Okay.
on YouTube under Acres Films
Okay.
on my Acres Films channel.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna check those out for sure. All the other ones too that maybe you did in the beginning. I'll check all that stuff out as well. Um, Thank you so much for doing this. This was so much fun and such a surprise. I wasn't expecting it. So thanks for reaching out and, coming on.
No, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for all the compliments on the film. I really
Oh,
appreciate it.
absolutely. And you're welcome back anytime. So when you do that possession films, you just give me a shout and we'll talk about it.
Will do. Will do.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I sure did. It was a real treat talking to Matt about this film. And Matt, you're welcome back anytime. And especially when you finish that feature-length possession film that you were talking about, because I want to be first in line. I'll have all of Matt's socials linked in the description box below, as well as where you can watch Mr. Sandman. And you guys, please go check it out. It would mean the world. I hope you all have a great evening, and don't forget to give this video a like because it helps me out a lot, and subscribe to the channel for more great stuff that's coming up. I've got more interviews and lots of deep dives, and I don't want you to miss out on anything, and long comments below because you know I love to chat. And remember, when you're watching horror movies, don't forget to scream responsibly. Love you guys.